You wouldn't like us when we're angry, but thank goodness we are delighted to be here and back on VFX and Chill. Hello, Seth. How are you doing?
Hello, Hash. I'm doing incredibly. How are you doing?
Incredibly. I love that. Well, consider me green with envy over your excitedness to be on the show. How are you doing today?
I should have talked first, shouldn't I? We should have switched this. Where's the laughter coming from? Once again, it's coming from Mr. Michael Slavsky. Hello, Michael.
Hello. It's so good to be here. I've missed you. I am so happy to be back.
This is wonderful.
Michael's drunk, so welcome to the show. No, I'm kidding.
I'm not. I only had like this much Maker's Mark.
We are back after
a
little break. Maxon had its yearly, or I'm going to call it yearly until it happens.
It's supposed to be yearly, but that's stupid COVID. Yeah.
Meeting in Germany, where for the first time in years, many of the humans who work together to bring you these softwares and these shows were actually physically together in the same place, which is really nice, but also did require most of us to be on planes at the time of last show. So we are back today, and we thought what better way to dive into discussions of visual effects than with the incredible She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, trailer which debuted this recent week and has a lot of people talking about visual effects.
Hashi, did the title win you over like 99% of get you 99% of the way there for you like it did for me?
I think this looks incredibly fun. And yeah, like not even joking.
Me too.
I enjoy ridiculous shows. I love shows with Attorney at Law in the title. And I feel like the title is great at setting the tone for what to expect out of this universe.
100%.
So,
and Tatiana Maslany is one of my favorite actors, period. She's got fantastic range. She's absolutely hilarious. And such good casting for this. I say such great casting. I don't know anything about the character in the comics, but if it's the same tone, I'm a fan, 100%.
Yeah, I have a feeling that over the course of the history of She-Hulk, She-Hulk has probably been asked to be whatever people wanted her to be throughout the comic book history. But this looks like it'll be an exciting take, and I feel like it's not a boring, your standard like trying to figure out how to do a mini version of an exciting superhero show. Like even balking at the idea of her being a superhero. And also, can't get over the loveliness of someone quote tweeting this shot saying that Marvel knows its target audience super well.
But I have noticed What was that,
I just
Michael?
want to cross over with this and Harvey Birdman, attorney at law, because I think those two attorneys together would be fantastic.
It's only a matter of time. I mean, did you see the video somebody made of where they were like, I don't remember what they're referencing, but it was essentially like it was the Avengers Endgame sequence, but it just kept adding more properties that were like outside of Disney's purview, and like to where it was like, this is inevitably where we're going, where it's going to be Dumbledore and John McClane. It's going to be like, VFX Royale, essentially, within canon. I feel like we'll eventually get there with Harvey Birdman. We were talking about something before the show. We wanted to talk. Oh, some people have hated on this trailer.
I don't know why.
I know why. And it's because they're dumb. And it's because no one seems to understand. Or maybe it's this. Okay, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself in my brain. Maybe it's because they hate CGI, but they're happy to critique CGI and point out what they think is bad CGI and what they think is good CGI, while at the same time claiming to hate it all. And people claim that the effects here of She-Hulk in She-Hulk form are potentially less than ideal. And to that I say, it's a green woman walking around, and it doesn't look that bad. And it's a friggin' trailer. Like, have we not learned before now that, like, VFX shots in trailers are not final VFX shots. They're not final comps. Like, this is what's been put out there now to hit a deadline, and nobody's ever done. You just stop working on it, and once we get closer to the TV show, it's going to be a much higher quality shot.
But also, it's a TV show. Like, TV show visual effects budget. Like, try to compare. I saw people online trying to say, well, Infinity War, blah 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 blah. Infinity War had a budget of this big. It was a major motion picture. This is a television show. The budgets are so much smaller.
Absolutely. I mean,
Hashi, I will say the chat, one person in the chat is very sad about no more cheap tricks happening recently.
Where the hell are they, Hashi?
I would like to say that Cheap Tricks is available live every week on this show here.
We are all Cheap Tricks,
trickier than ever.
deep down.
Yeah, this is Cheap Tricks, just cheaper. It's just longer. That's all. Just longer.
Absolutely. Just more.
Yeah, what do you think we're selling on this show?
Yes, I do quite enjoy the long format, like tailored tutorials as well. But I will admit that doing this weekly show is a great way to get a lot of those, scratch a lot of those itches and try out the visual effects that we see on the weekly. And if I would appreciate if people want some cheap tricks. Let me know what you would like a cheap tricks on. Suggest an episode that doesn't just say Flash.
And we will promptly do it on this show instead of making a cheap tricks, because that's what we do now.
Oh, the chat has also said, what about Moon Knight? I have some good news for you, sir or ma'am or other. We are actually talking to folks who worked on Moon Knight not too long from today. In
a few weeks, we'll have some old friends back on the show. We're going to be talking about Moon Knight. We're going to be talking about Doctor Strange.
We'll get all of your Moon Knight excitement
real quick
in place soon.
Real quick, going back to She-Hulk and staying there. Do you think perhaps that that there was a misconception from the Sonic experience that it's up to us to fix visual effects when we see them in trailers?
I mean, Sonic needed to be fixed, and I'm so glad they fixed it, and I'm so glad the internet yelled loudly about it. I do think they should Sonic her somewhat, because she is not bulky enough for a Hulk. She's just slightly green.
That could be narrative. That could be in the narrative, and it's hard. You have to kind of suck it up when you make the trailer for if you've got some big surprise plan that maybe perhaps it's a slow burn into full-on She-Hulk. I'd like to believe. So I agree with you though. She's not buff enough if this is final She-Hulk.
Even Bruce Banner as Hulk. He is taking his half and half form in the preview for this show, and that was something that took 12 movies to dial in on, and it's the third version of a cinematic Hulk that we've Well, I guess technically second, whatever. You're within this newer phase, Disney plus Marvel take on what the Hulk is, how big he is, all of that stuff. So there's going to be there's plenty of wiggle room. I feel like.
I think they should just replace her with Sonic, like just the Sonic asset that they ended up with.
Just Hugh slide it to green.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. For the entire first episode, just Sonic. And then when people say, what the hell? Then you just switch it back and say, see, this is better.
It's not what you wanted. Anytime, this is the deal. Anytime, and this sounds like something we're going to have to do on the show. Anytime that the internet complains about visual effects in trailers, they should be punished by having that thing they complained about completely replaced with Sonic in the final film, and the movie be ruined.
Absolutely. Now, I am curious, because what I think is interesting about these effects is, bad CGI is so easy to type. It's 7 characters on the keyboard, if you include the space. And
I do include the space, Hashi.
But I don't know how they're doing She-Hulk in this.
I don't either.
I do not know if it is 100% digital. I don't know if it is performance capture enhanced, similar model of the character. If it is Tatiana in makeup with a wig and then on stilts and body replacement. I don't know what they are doing.
Well, look, let's see. There's close-ups of her get her performance.
So that's an interesting face, because that's not her face, but it could be her,
it feels
Lola
like her
VFX
performance
face.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what they're doing there. And yes, this specific shot I thought looks a little bit uncanny, and an adjective reserved for the X-Men in general.
I was going to say, is that a pun? I can't remember what that belongs to. Yeah, X-Men. Sorry.
Because they're uncanny?
Yeah, they're not canny at all. There's no can in the X-Men
zero can
whatsoever.
Factor.
Yes.
But I don't know precisely what they're doing. I don't know if she's completely digitally recreated, which is usually the easiest way to go about doing something like this, as opposed to trying to preserve parts of the original performer, and or doing the most straightforward way I could think of to do this is with some Amazonian body stand-in character with a face replacement, but even face replacements are remarkably more complicated these days than they used to be.
Yeah, she's probably got to be entirely digital, but there's got to be. I wonder if they're recording her facial performance, if she's wearing a headset on the day, wearing a head, a helmet of cameras. Or I guess you'd only need one camera, the GoPro on the front with the trackers on the face.
Certainly. And we saw a similar process, but played for comedic effect in the movie Free Guy recently, where Ryan Reynolds had a body double.
That's right.
Basically, they would perform the scenes with Ryan. They would film the scenes with the body double. And instead of, let's see, what are the old movies where they did this? Like Jurassic Park, where they have a stunt woman play Lex falling out of a ceiling grate and replace her face manually.
That's 3 frames though. That's
old
basically
process
Photoshop,
of doing this. But and then you have all the way to David Fincher-esque levels where you're doing a total facial capture of the facial performance and then projecting that onto 3D geometry tracked to a face, which is, I bet, what they're doing for the full body shots in this. That's my best guess, is that they're replacing the hairline and face on another performer for some of that.
And the performer's just got Gamora makeup, essentially.
Yeah, but I'm positive that half the time it's also completely digital, and the fact that I don't know means that I would never paint all of this with a brush of bad CGI.
Exactly.
Speaking of painting with a brush, Hashi, this woman is green in some of these shots. Can you tell?
So I know from lore that the Hulk is green. Like that's what people always say. This falls into the specific category of I'm forgetting the technical term. It sounds like Deuteronomy. The type of color blindness I have.
It sounds like galactic.
Specifically to distinguishing red and green from each other. And so, except for the fact that I know she's supposed to be green, I wouldn't know it from watching this trailer and cannot pick it out while watching.
So how hard is it to tell when she's Hulk and when she's not Hulk?
The hair length is the main thing I've got to go off of. And so if there are any scenes where she's green but has her, attorney hair, I don't know. Which will also probably figure interestingly into today's episode, because I do know that I could tell that John Woo's iteration of Hulk was green and felt very green.
It was very green.
Very green. But then I feel like we dialed that back as we got more into Ed Norton territory, and then finally Mark Ruffalo, who's just the slightest bit more green. Like when I'm color sampling frames from this, they're just the slightest bit more green, and sometimes still more red. If you look at a standard skin color mix on like an RGB slider, you've got a lot of red, like not quite as much green, and then blues way down here.
I think you've just hit on something that's a good pro tip for any of our watchers who are colorblind. How do you match colors? Like, how do you know what color something is when you can't see that color?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, like many people might say, if I'm colorblind, I should never go into MoGraph or visual effects because colors are really important there.
False.
No. Yeah, don't be so color ableist, everybody. What's really wonderful about computers is that a computer also doesn't know what colors are and needs to be told numerically what everything is. On top of that, they have the ability to tell you exactly what colors they are representing to you. And for example, for me in After Effects, that is in the info panel up in the top corner at all times, that I can hover my mouse anywhere in my frame and it'll tell me what mix of red, green, and blue is going into something. And so based on those numbers, I usually try to play with looking at a reference pixel of something that I know is color corrected properly compared to the element that I'm trying to put in there. And I still miss the mark sometimes, but it's easier for me to see numerically if I have too much green, too much red, too much blue. But I have to remember to check, because to my eyes, I don't detect that difference. And so that's a little bit weird. Another feature that I really love is in Colorista, one of the options in there is to show an overlay grid for all of the skin tones. And it's really just specifically a tool so you can see what, like skin tone would be important if you're color correcting any piece of footage. And so you'd love to know what is falling under Colorista's skin tone squeeze parameters. For sure.
And Colorista's little skin tone squeeze stuff is very handy for making someone's skin look nicer.
It's perfect. Because if you are colorblind and don't know if there's too much purple bleeding in or too much green bleeding in, you can check that box and see what the skin overlay is detecting as skin. And then just like dial your hue left or right to see where the skin detector says, oh, this is skin now. And that was dramatically helpful, specifically on, we did a speaking of cheap tricks, a Dune fight shields episode, I believe, where the footage all came in slightly green, I want to say, which is specifically bad for me. And so when I sent back the initial pass, everything was fairly green, and it just felt like a slightly washed out look to me, but it turned out it was too green. And at the time, Aaron Rabinowitz showed me pop open Colorista, switch on the skin overlay, dial back the hue until all the skin tones are matching, and now that's your color correction to do, which is really cool. I'll show that practically as we get into this episode.
And for me, until I started working with you, and funny enough, the co-host of my other show, Ryan Pauly, he's also partially colorblind. I don't know if he's also it's the deuteranomaly is one of the types, I think, is the one you were talking about. I looked it up.
There we go, yeah.
Most common type of red-green color blindness makes green look more red. I don't remember what poly is, but interestingly, we were making graphics for our card game that we're launching. I was making some graphics, and I showed them to him, and he said I would make the URL pop a little more, and I was like, oh, it doesn't. It's popping for me. And he goes, I think it's my color blindness. And I was like, oh, well, then I definitely should fix it. And so I didn't know what to do. So I just, like here, so I'll show you real quick. I'm going to go to our screens if that's cool, Hash.
Go for it.
So you'll see I have a red background with in blue typed, can you read this? And I found that if I typed so Hash, I don't know, how does that look to you?
So that looks, what I get with this is I get this incredibly loud halo between the red and the blue and or purple letters on there.
I can tell you, this hurts me.
It hurts.
As someone who can see slightly extra colors, this is painful to look at.
It's blue on red, and I found that when I desaturated it, it's nothing. It's just straight up like gray.
Because it's pure blue, pure red. It's going to be the same values. Yes.
And this blew my mind completely and made me realize, I have been, in making graphics, I have been limiting the accessibility to these graphics by not checking that it works, even just with everything desaturated. This blows my mind. That's something that I feel like I can read it, even though it's tough. It's a little tough, but
there's a clear distinction for you and I.
Yes.
But for people with certain color blindnesses, it's completely just nothing.
And so I found that I would desaturate it, and then if I wanted to keep it in the same color palette, I'd then change the saturation. If I just turn the saturation down, you see suddenly the contrast becomes much more readable. And I'm able to and now obviously that doesn't look like what I needed to look like, but I found for me going back and forth in this process allowed me to make graphics that were had more promise to be able to read, to help other people read. So Hashi, you can't read that, what you just made.
Yeah, so I made this it's funny because you made a very similar example for your on the other screen there, but I made this for something I was showing off at our company meeting, just to explain the bizarreness of this, because
that's very clear to me, Hashi.
If you throw some hue and saturation on top of this and hue tilt it, I can absolutely see this. And this is a really bizarre way to check yourself in color with this color blindness, is if I throw a hue, dial it over to 180 degrees, I can absolutely see this. But when it's off, it completely disappears.
That's so crazy.
If your eyes can distinguish between these two, then you could totally see these. So it's just it's a weird thing. And yeah, eyes are bizarre, and they're just making sense out of the signals that and shooting them to your brain. Color is fake.
Speaking of
color is fake. That's true.
We should. I want to shout out to, and we should link to our friend Captain Disillusion's amazing video essay on color he did earlier last year.
It's a really good one.
Yeah, with
some voice cameos of my children there on the end.
I didn't know. I don't think I knew that.
They are I had them do 5 different school child voices, so they could sound like a full classroom together.
That's amazing.
So it's now with a lisp, now with a 2-year-old, and they made up a whole classroom worth of children.
Well, Hosh, we should get to hulking probably.
We should get to hulking.
So what do you want to do? What are you going to do?
So I had this very lofty goal of a whole scene that I kind of imagined, and I can take everyone through the idea of what I wanted the scene to be. I thought that it could be kind of cool, and I filmed this vertically, so it'll work well on the show and also be a good, good for the socials. kind of thing. So this is my cat. This is Aussie staring right here. But I had this plan to do this kind of shot where I would be like walking down the stairs, feeling some weirdness, and then I would start doing some kind of typical like veins popping, person looking sick kind of thing. And then in the planning of the shot, the idea is then we pan down and I would kind of grip onto this banister post, which was sort of this Bruce Bannister post that would start crumpling a little bit. Then back to me for an increasingly progressed hulkification, whether it's green veins or maybe replacing the eyes. I'm trying to not blink or whatever. And then in this big dramatic fashion, I would like slam my hand over to the wall like this. And then in this shot, I would do some effect where the arm starts growing, the hand starts turning green, and the shirt rips away. So then I can kind of pan back to a view like this, where I have grown into the Hulk. And so to do that, I filmed...
That's a lot, Hashi.
It's a lot, and I don't think that kind of a thing through. Colorblindness doesn't affect your planning skills, unfortunately. And so... basically, I filmed this shot, and I filmed a bunch of other stuff. I'll kind of show. Let's see. I can pull these files up. May not be super interesting, but the plan is I would for one of the moments where I get down to the bottom of the stairs here. There was sort of this underlighting bounce that was happening from the sun in that room, and so I tried throwing a big green sheet over it like this in case that would bounce any green up onto my face. It did nothing.
No, Hashi, someone who can see color, it's definitely a green wash coming up on you.
Yeah,
there
it is.
Green.
Hey, there we go. See? Look at that. I was hoping so. And then after that, I went over to the corner of this room and stood on a stool and tried to film from roughly the same spot when my hand moves over to the wall, finding a similar spot, but with a wide-angle lens now, and then filming this plate where I stand up on a stool so my camera gets taller and taller within the room until it's looking all the way down at this crazy staircase. And my plan is to composite myself as a Hulk into here.
Oh, like you got real tall.
Like I got much taller.
I got you.
So in theory, I was hoping that you would get that I've come downstairs and that I'm shorter than the banister post here. I can hide a lot of my growing during this shot.
Right.
That's nice.
But then when I pan back, instead of being way down here, this is how tall I actually am.
Yeah, I like
That's fun.
Tall.
That's really fun.
Oh, Alberto Padierna in the chat says, can't wait to see how to do the shirt ripping. You know, in Cinema 4D S26, which just released this month,
you can rip stuff.
You can rip stuff. The cloth ripping stuff. So previously in Cinema 4D, when a cloth ripped and you had that break between the polygons,
an angel
those points
died.
Were no longer connected, those polygons would just disappear. In the new cloth, in the new cloth system in Cinema 4D, they don't disappear. So if you wanted to do cloth ripping, I would highly recommend updating to S26.
Now, so the question is,
one of the, sorry to interrupt, Seth, but one of the great things about the new cloth simulation tools is that they are beautifully named, just renamed differently than before, because there were a couple mystery properties to me in previous cloth simulations where I just, like, stretchiness didn't do what I thought, but now we have some great terms like stretchy, like how much it stretches, how much it bends, how stiff or not, and it like things that you would associate with fabric as opposed to simulation factors. And I really like that. It works for both rope and cloth, and the terms are just a little bit clearer now. Totally. If you're a novice.
Now,
Seth, looking at your screen, your Hulk there seems to be quite a hero-site individual. That is There's plenty of chest hair on that Hulk.
I can't take credit for that. This was, I'm going to give credit to Lil CJ from Sketchfab.
Lil CJ, come on down.
Made this CT attribution Hulk with tons of hair. And I want to take, I'm going to take this Hulk and I'm going to put my head on it. From the mix of me that we have.
I will say the bodies look a little bit different there, Seth.
Well, you know, this is actually more like my current body, purely in muscle. The first process is going to be us like reducing the sheer rippling muscles that exist on our actual bodies to make them more in line with like a comic book, like your standard muscles kind of look, you know? Exactly. So what I'm going to do is okay, here's the truth. It's going to be way easier for me to cut this head off, put it on here, and mask the transition using a collar or a shirt to mask the transition from Seth head to Hulk body that way. And I actually kind of think
you're doing Hanna-Barbera on this.
Did Hanna-Barbera's Hulk have...
No, Hanna-Barbera, the cartoons, because it's easier to not have to, like, the less you have to animate, the better if you crank them out. So almost every Hanna-Barbera cartoon character has some sort of line here, like Fred Flintstone has that little collar with a tie, because that way they can animate the head. And the body is the same the whole time. So they have that little line of separation. Like Yogi Bear, that's why Yogi Bear has that little tie.
We keep pushing our animation part 2 episode, but we're just going to trickle it throughout the next, 20 episodes over time. That's really great trivia.
Yeah. Visible collar, great for Hanna-Barbera and great for Butt with Raptors.
Really great for Butt with Raptors. So I'm going to... that means I'm going to probably steal this collar because it's actually isolated. If I remove my shirt in real time, you'll find it's just this collar stands on its own next to my severed head or around my neck. So I'm going to bring that collar into here and place it here, but then I'm going to actually, I've been talking about how I've been having fun with this lately, since, figuring how easy it is to do fabric in here. I'm going to make him a shirt, and I'm going to form fit it to his body using Cinema 4D things.
What? Craziness.
I know. So anyway.
At the same time, I'm going to be doing something pretty similar, which is I'd run Hulk through the Mixamo pipeline as usual and kind of created I just downloaded kind of a standard breathing cycle from the character, but have done some custom overlays to do some stuff like imagining his hand is flat against a wall so I can use it for that match move moment where I kind of morph my hand into this hand against a wall that then kind of comes in and then becomes Hulk holding up a cell phone in some kind of crazy wide angle, situation like this, which should be pretty fun to do.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So, luckily this, an arm holding a cell phone, all it really has to do is just sort of go off frame a little bit. It doesn't really matter much after that. And one of the ways that I came up with this was in After Effects. We started out, that's so funny.
No, go back to that.
Okay, we got to go back. Okay, that is, so.
It's happened.
Let's see. Where do we go? Oh, yeah. Where is it? Yeah.
Yes. That's fantastic. That's definitely a CD album cover.
This is from 1996. Your favorite stairwell tunes from
I love this image, like the wood pattern on the floor mixed with the wide angle of the banister. Like that's a good
and what's
image.
Interesting, it's video, which is actually kind of funny. So it's my rotobrushed head doing its expressions from the lower version of this mapped over this this wide angle lens.
It's so funny.
So what was kind of nice is I was able to take run a motion track on the original.
Sorry, real quick. This is an fun accident.
Look at that.
Hulk
Whoa.
having kind of my hair, but a much tighter fade than I usually go with. And
that is lovely. Jason Murphy with a "You're a Pixar." I love that.
I'm gonna cut some heads. You keep teaching, Hush, while I disassemble this Hulk.
Sure.
Hang on, Hush,
so I'm gonna save.
Before you go on, I do want to say that Cody from the chat says that their absolute favorite cheap tricks of all time was the Black Panther titles. They say it was mind expanding.
Because they rule.
So you know.
Ooh, I like that. Well, thank you, Cody.
I don't know why. I don't know why that sounded so sarcastic. Thank you, Cody. Don't go to hell at all.
So one of the fun things is that so I took just this middle section, that little camera move that we discussed earlier, where I'm looking at the wall and the camera kind of pans up. So I motion tracked that, like you should if you're working with any footage kind of like this. And from the 3D camera tracker, I got a very great null because it's an empty scene. It's pretty easy, all of that stuff. I also then created kind of a ground plane, a little plane here, a plane there, so I knew where these three reference points were. And then from there, I actually just ran up and said, export Maxon Cinema 4D exporter. And the wonderful thing about that is, let me open up a little slightly older version of this project so you can see kind of where I started. So what that does is, let me hide my Hulk character here for a second. But I then got right into Cinema 4D and had these three reference objects and a camera perfectly animated from my After Effects track. And what's cool is you could do this either way. You could have also started with the footage in Cinema, tracked the camera, and then exported your camera, pushed it through to Cinema. So one of the great things about working with Cinema 4D as a 3D tracker is that it has a way to export back and forth between the two, which is really nice. So the only modification I had to make here was that I added a background object, and for the material of the background object, I created a material that was the QuickTime that I had tracked. Oh, that's off screen for you all. Let me make it switch to half screen mode. There we go. So I created a new material that the luminance value was the QuickTime itself. And then once you've done that, you have to click on the actual shader there, where you can click on this animation tab right here. It automatically filled out from movie start frame to end with 0 to 629 in this case, which is a very long VFX shot. But you can then switch the timing to exact frame, and then on the material property, you can make sure that in the viewport, you've checked animate preview. And if you've done all of those things, then you'll end up with a project like this one over here. So it looks just like it did in After Effects. I can see the shape of everything here and how it kind of relates. And then when I bring in my Mixamo character, the Mixamo character actually happened to be almost exactly the right scale for this system, which is really cool. So now I can kind of preview the idea of the Hulk standing right here in this version. I just need to be able to figure out how to replace, stick my head onto here. So Seth, you've got something nightmarish going on your side of the screen. What have we there?
Well, I'm done. No, So I now have.
That sigh was fantastic. So
Yeah, 100%. So I am going to. So the next things I got to do is I've got to, Hulk. The OG Hulk has much beefier neck than Mix-A-Me has. So I'm gonna beef this neck
Can
out.
you just
of
turn
there.
that on and off again just a little bit? I
still love it with like your hair
Just
poking out
that?
the top and
I
your
know.
glasses. Like
I know it's so great. Part of me wonders if I should just go with that. It's just get my hair. I don't know. Oh,
You're just
come
the
back.
kid, like kid at the convention in between, signings.
You know what? Oh my gosh, that's not a bad idea for me to just go in here and
Just round off that neck hole, and then you make yourself carrying the Hulk head around.
Oh, I see. It's literally me at like in a Hulk costume at Comic-Con. Absolutely.
Saying, "Oh,
don't
Mr.
do that.
Ruffalo,
No.
sir."
Oh my gosh.
No. We're trying to show people how to do Hulk VFX, not
Yes.
silly sketches.
Fair enough.
And
fair
I'm gonna
enough.
do it horribly.
Days of Dice wants a Hawaiian shirt on your Hulk, Seth.
Ooh, that's a fun idea.
Ooh, that's a fun idea that I don't know if I can do, but we'll see, because that involves some buttons and stuff. I do love that.
It's always
aesthetically,
it's
though.
always a little bit iffy doing button stuff on the show.
Button stuff. So, I'm going to show you how I am going to beef up my neck. Let me turn off the collar.
That's lovely. I did the exact opposite over here, which was grabbing the Hulk model, jumping into point mode, and then I chopped off the head just by deleting the geometry, and then selected this ring of points, basically, but well. And with a soft selection enabled in, if I check that for enable, I can basically tailor a section of points that get sort of affected by, how big or small I want to make this horrible
That's
neck
smart.
hole.
That's smart.
So that
and
was,
cool.
I went about a similar approach because I'm also replacing my head, but with a footage version of me.
Well,
And so the next step is, I'll let you finish. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting a lot, but
my God, no.
stuck
What
this
you're- what
little
you're doing
teeny
is-
card in here and stuck it right onto the neck joint, because even though there are absolutely better ways to do this, I am going to motion track a little texture that I put on this inside After Effects and pin my 2D head to it instead of forwarding, like a null with a compositing tag or something simple.
Yeah, people are going to scream at you, but it's okay.
2D track.
It's okay, though. I think that's the perfect segue into what I'm about to do, which is
Excellent.
this the wrong way. So I am using the tools. That's a brush. Where is it? Is it in the mesh? Where did I get this brush from? I don't know. I am in. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So brushes under mesh. There's this one called Inflate, and I can get it by clicking the sculpt view and have it's this little guy over here, and I can go in and how did I lose it? I can draw on this mesh and inflate. Well, it's not working, and I don't know why. I should be able to inflate this geometry. Okay.
You don't need to be in these sculpting tools. You can just use the mesh tools, because there are brush tools in the mesh tools and sculpt that are separate from each other. That may be more useful for you.
I'm not sure why it's not working like it was yesterday. It doesn't. Oh, here we go. That's not what I needed to do. Tools, mesh, brush, inflate.
Well, you're keeping everyone's attention. I'm going to.
Whoa!
I filmed myself topless
now.
for the show, everybody.
Hashi.
It happened. Finally, everyone.
He's finally removed his shirt. Oh, I know what's wrong.
Finally removed my shirt.
My normals are all messed up. So hang on. I'm gonna select all those.
Messed up.
Mesh, normals, reverse normals, and now they're all orange. So now I should be able to.
Oh yeah, that'll work. Much better. Yeah.
Use this inflate, and now boom! I'm gonna beef that neck.
Ooh,
I've got a goiter going on over here.
100% grade A American beef.
Oh, it's so gross.
It's so.
Speaking of which, look at Hashi's screen.
So
I mean, that's
over
without
here on
anything
Hashi's
done to it.
We've got Hashi with trying the best to make his neck look strong at all, with little tacked
You
on.
say like you aren't ripped under all of that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
Freaking
just
VFX artist over here should not look anything like Hashi does underneath that shirt. Now I'm getting inappropriate and making things uncomfortable.
It's what I spend all my time doing when I'm not seeing colors properly.
Hashi, the chat wants
doing
to
reps.
This is how you compensate for your color blindness.
Yeah, but what you want me to pick up the cinder block? Push up arc and throw the cinder block.
Yeah, pick up the green one.
I can swing these ropes like no one's business.
Pick up the green cinder block, Hosh.
So this is a thank you, Seth, for making it painful again. So
hang on, the chat wants to know if you have an OnlyFriends account. I think they mean OnlyFans, but anyway.
Only friends? That's me and Hashi's private site.
OnlyFriends account.
This group Skype call is my only friends channel. So say we were going with something like a live action head instead of a digital one. Like I look pretty hulkish here. I'm, all scary and stuff, but I feel like I could be more cartoonishly or comically hulkish. And one of the great tools that I've used on the show before were the Motion Bro set of face tools, which are kind of cool. But I'm going to try to show everyone how to do something kind of similar without any of that. Now, this is a fun process whereby you can just take any piece of footage like this, you could draw a circle around it like that, and then down here in the tracker settings, let me make sure that's on screen for everybody. Under tracker, you can switch the method to face tracking detailed features. And I'm just going to go ahead and start playing that all the way through. And watch what happens. It starts tracking through the footage, and it's putting a little pin on all of these identifiable markers, which is really cool. I'm going to do this for an abbreviated section of this clip just so I can show everybody how this works. Let's see how we get through there. Great. So now it's done this. It's tracked my face, which is kind of cool. And also this kind of auto mask that it can do is also an option down here, just an outline only. This can be really helpful for color correction or for a handful of things. So don't underestimate the face tracker built right in here. I'm going to run the tracker backwards here for this last couple of frames because it takes a couple of frames to get caught up with the details. But now I've got this face that's dancing back and forth. I can switch this mask to none, so you can just sort of see it's me moving around, all that good stuff. But if I wanted to do something, I'd need to figure out how to track it to the face. And if I wanted to distort this face at all, it would be really great if I could hold it in place so I could do an on-top distortion. And there's a really great hack for doing that. And I always refer to this video called How to Stabilize the Face Tracker in After Effects by J. Pearl Dev. So this is a great, nice, short and sweet 5-minute tutorial on this. I'm going to do the exact same thing that he's about to, which is run the detailed face tracker, and then I'll just click back on my footage in general. And then down here in the tracker window, I will click on Stabilize Motion. Once I've done that, I can check box Rotation and Scale, and that will create these two track points. And you've done this before. You can like put them over this eye and that eye and kind of stabilize them or whatever. But if you've already run the detailed face tracker, you can actually just come down to the timeline here, and right under Effects, you'll see that After Effects has created this face track points data. I can twirl open the left eye, twirl open the right eye right here. And then under Motion Trackers, I can open up my Stabilize Tracker, points 1 and 2, just like that. And this may be a little bit hard to see, but I'll try to say out loud what I'm doing. I'm interested in the attach point under track point 1 and track point 2. And then I want to link each of these to where the pupil is in the detailed face tracker. So it's just this. I'll go to track point 1.
This is crazy, Hash.
Grab the attach point and select left pupil. Then I'll go to this attach point, grab that pick whip, and say right pupil. And then you'll see what's happened is now they are expression linked. So now the two attach points are dead on where the eyes are, which is really cool, all the way throughout. Now, if I just do a little simple thing like right-click on the this expression I just did, in fact, I could select both of them, Control-select both, and then right-click and say, Keyframe Assistant, convert expression to keyframes. That will bake out the position of that link on every one of these frames. So it's no longer expression dependent. That's exactly the data it has now. And now I can say apply X and Y. And now check this out. Now when I play back my footage, and Seth, you practically did this on our face-off episode as well. But now I have a stabilized around the eyes piece of footage.
That's awesome.
A lot easier to use, a lot easier to work with. Obviously, I'm like opening my mouth and the perspective is shifting a little bit, but the eyes are in the same place. The nose is held relatively still. And it's just a really cool, straightforward way to create this stabilized comp here within After Effects.
That's awesome.
So what you got going on there?
I've got my collar placed. I'm just filling out the space with my horrible neck. I look kind of like the Penguin here. I look like Paul Rubens. Even though he was the Penguin's dad, I look like a new reimagining with Paul Rubens as the Penguin Hulk.
This would be like if Penguin was allowed to stay at home, but also had a brother who was not didn't have the horrible fate of the Danny DeVito Oswald. But this is like, Gerald, his other brother, who is like
he favors Gerald his dad more. Yeah.
Or 100%. Cobblepot, whatever.
Yeah, Gerald Cobblepot, Jerry Cobb. So now I'm gonna give him a shirt. So here's how we're gonna do it. And I did a little bit last week. I don't need to actually explain it all the way through unless people really want it, but I'm going to draw a flat shirt with the polygon pen, and then I'm going to duplicate it, bridge them, make sure the normals are aligned, and then set those bridges as stitches. And because bridges get stitches in Cinema 4D.
Bridges get stitches.
And
nice.
And then I'm going to click a button that makes it into a shirt, and I'll show you guys how I do that. So first and foremost, let me draw this shirt. Now it's time for draw that shirt.
Draw that shirt.
Woo! So I'm going to. I have the. Okay. The pen is working. It looks like it's snap. No, it's not. Never mind. I am just gonna, as carefully as I can, even though it's very haphazard. I'm drawing the full sleeve shirt, even though Hulk definitely would have ripped through it. That's okay. I have an idea on what to do about that. And that should work.
What?
And now I've got this shirt here. I'm going to line up the... whatchamacallit, what's it called, an anchor point in here too? I'm going to line it up with the middle here, and I'm going to, I didn't do it like I thought I did. Line up and push it out to here, so to make sure that there is space and it's not overlapping with my bulging biceps too much. Common problem I have every day.
Standard. Can't take you anywhere.
I'm going to, before I duplicate this, I'm going to, with it selected, go to Mesh, and I'm going to subdivide. And look, there are more strategic ways to go about doing this. Real quick, I'm going to do that again just so you can see this. Right now, it's one big polygon. by going here and saying subdivide, it then cuts it up into a bunch of geometric shapes and gives a little more geometry to work with. Honestly, a better 3D artist in this would know good polygons from bad polygons. I don't, so I'm just doing it crudely like this.
You'll take candy from any old polygon.
Yeah, I'm going to copy this polygon, paste it in here, and then I'm going to move this new one back here, and we can see here in the side view, we want it to be not touching my back. So it's got me cornered now, right? And I'm going to select both of the... Well, first I'm going to make sure...
Oh my gosh. Sorry, Seth. I'm just...
I know.
This is great.
That does look great.
This is something I do not know how to do and is one of the last stages of what I've got to do because I want to do the torn cloth over one of the arms on mine. So I'm going to just try to deftly study what you're doing here while doing my own thing over here.
So before I connect these and bridge these, if you look with them selected, this front one has orange polygons facing outward. This back one has blue polygons facing outward, and I believe that means the normals
the normals are facing the same direction on both of them, and you want it to be facing the other way because it's going to be the outside of the shirt. Yes, you need to reverse those polys.
So I'm just going to reverse the normals on the back. So now they're orange facing out. And so now I'm going to select both of these polygon layers, and I'm going to right-click or control-click, and I'm going to say Connect Objects and Delete. So now they are both in this as one, and I'm going to connect them by going into Edge Selection. And this little bridge right here will allow me to... I'm actually going to go back to this view. Will allow me to... How do I make this window bigger? Here we go. Allow me to connect and bridge the shirt just like this. So it's a little tedious, and I'm sure there's a better way to do it all at once, but you know what? I like this. It allows me to relax and just bridge some polygons.
You've always wanted to be a tailor in,
Yes. My grandmother, who was 90 yesterday,
Congrats.
She used to make a design and build costumes for Dallas Theater, a Dallas theater company, and she's the reason I got to go wear the Baby Bop mask, because she was friends with the costume designer on Barney, which I believe was shot out of Dallas Fort Worth. Or maybe not. I don't know why I got to do that, but it was through her. But she would every year, when I was a kid, my Christmas gift from her was always a trunk full of new costumes. And she would make me like a wide assortment of like pirate costumes, Ghostbusters costumes. My Ghostbusters costume was designed with my explicit instructions to give me the Spangler name tag on it. I tended to favor the nerds in every film.
Didn't we all?
I was a big Wayne Selinsky, Egon Spangler fan.
So, Alex, while you finish your... Oh, you just finished your shirt. You're about
I'm done with
cool
this.
stuff.
He's still working his way through it. I just want to say, if you select if you select all of the edges,
don't tell him.
Both sides, and do one bridge,
I know
it would happen all at once.
I know, but you know what? I don't want to select all the edges because I need the opening for his head.
I'm just saying.
I'll give you a nice double stitch.
There's a way faster way to do this, is all I'm saying.
You're a way faster way to do this. That's actually literally what you said, is that you are a faster way to do this. But
I'm going to pause you for just a second while you finish that shirt and show a couple things that I'm doing over here. So one really simple thing I did was I threw like a CC toner on here that kind of makes me greenish. We can adjust this all later. But then on top of that, I threw a standard instance of the original footage and put an extract effect on it. That's like slightly feathered out, and I'm trying to use that to just eat away like the skin color until I'm mostly just leaving the hair. If I were to like show that, I'm mostly leaving hair and stuff like that. And then if I mix that with kind of a brightness contrast filter, it sort of darkens and keeps the hair in sort of a relatively, not green tinted color, but the skin mostly green. And then I took yet another copy of this, and then check this out. So I'll delete this first mask, for example. I don't want the teeth and everything tinted green. But because this is stabilized footage now, and it's relatively the simple shape right here, if I go to my mask tool, my pen tool, and have Roto Bezier checked, especially helpful, I can just go, let's draw the rough shape of this mouth here, blah, 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 and something like that. And that'll reveal a nice color inside my mouth. I can feather out the sides a little bit. It doesn't need to be very precise, but something like this. So you can tell that there's, still like my nice yellow teeth and my tongue right there. But now under the tracker window, again, tracker window here of all of this stuff. And you could also pull it up by right-clicking here and saying track mask. Because this is simple and not moving around too much, I can select method, position, scale, rotation, and skew, and I'll just press play and watch this. This Roto Bezier mask is trying its best to stay with the mouth shape.
And for this,
all the way through the entire piece of footage, I just did the exact same process on this eye and this eye. Even though they're pretty stabilized, I probably could have just drawn a static mask for them. But now I have some of the original color back in my mouth and in my two eyes.
And
there you go. There you go, Alberto. Does that answer your question?
And you have a brand new Twitter profile picture.
Exactly. So I'm gonna try to.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
Ooh, that color green. Oh, there you go. You're heading into Marvel territory.
There we go.
Meanwhile, over here, it's time for the real fun part. I'm going to select.
Where you attend the Met Gala?
Yes, we're super. Like, this is just incredibly funny to me. The idea that I made a shirt, I'm done. It's done. So with Polygon,
ladies, gentlemen, and others, high fashion.
I'm gonna select all the sides with making sure visible only is turned off so that it actually selects all those stitches. And I'm gonna do one thing that I love about Cinema 4D, which is I'm gonna store this selection. And when
stored selection,
when I do that, it creates this little triangle over here that when I click it, it'll always select those stitches for me. So I'll be like, hey, get those stitches, and it did. And now guys, I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, hey, I want this to be cloth. And I'm going to say let's see, I'm going to put the collar back into, hang on. I can put everything into a null and then put the collider tag on the null, can't I?
Yes, you can just
try
double
it and see, but yes.
Okay.
If you click on the tag itself, there should be an apply to children checkbox under, I can't remember.
That's right.
Grouping or something like that.
I'm adding let me rename this to sweater. I put up here. So it's got the cloth tag on it, the null, which has the whirly head and the Hulk that I'm adjusting and not my saved OG Hulk. Has the collider tag on it, and I don't know if I need to actually select children. I think it just automatically does it, maybe? It used to be you had to select children. I don't know. Anyway, I go to dresser.
A lot of these kinds of tools got a little bit smarter and a little bit more intuitively what you think they're supposed to do in the last version.
Exactly. And this is
probably difficult for people who knew the weird workaround before. But remarkably, a lot of these are actually simpler.
Story of my life. They removed my workaround, I complained before realizing that they just fixed the reason for the workaround. So now with these stitches selected, I'm going to select seam polys, and now it knows that those are the seams. I click set for that, and now I'm going to click Dress-O-Matic, and it's going to ideally suck this shirt. Oh, I need to do it without sweater selected in order to watch the fun. Shoot! Hang on. Oh no, what did I do?
This is the fun part.
Oh, it doesn't normally take this long. Okay, hold on. Well, that is fun, but we want to watch it. We want to watch it.
Perfect.
Do it. So I'm gonna I'm actually just gonna delete it. Delete that tag and start again. So here we go. Add the tag cloth and I need to select the seams. Yeah. Set polys, and now I'm going to unselect it and go back and select the tag. And now we're going to hit Dress-O-Matic and watch it suck itself down onto my body.
Woo! That is so much fun.
And now, Whirly, this looks super like paper.
Sensual.
And super Sethual. Let's talk about Seth. Let's talk about you and me. I'm just going to go into all the puns that I've had growing up. Sethual healing.
Everything you've always wanted to know about VFX, but we're afraid to ask.
This needs a little bit of Sethual healing here. I am going to need to move that collar up a bit, but I'm going to do that later. One thing that's fun to know, I am going to go and I'm going to adjust this and fine-tune stuff, but before I do that, I should show everybody the really satisfying thing, which is to drop this into a subdivision surface. And
Ooh.
It makes it look so much smoother and cleaner. Now, my chest is popping out through it because it doesn't take into account that it's trying not to touch my body. So there's a couple things I can do. I can just actually like adjust my body in here. I'm gonna get this to a decent place, and then I'm gonna turn it into an object and get rid of the proceduralness, and then I'm gonna use the brush and sculpt tools to make everything look the way I want it to because I'm lazy.
Now, I, in the meantime, have just been Kai's power tooling over here with the Liquify effect and just modifying this stabilized face a little bit. Now, obviously, there's some motion that's going to be interesting as it moves through this distortion field I just created, but I just want to see what we've created here. And I kind of like it. It's like a bizarrely
awesome.
Heightened version of Angry Hashi that is clearly live action based, but has some extra comic-iness.
Now, do you have to roto that, or did you make you could probably make a mask from your face using some of your tracking and just let it be warped too and use it as a track mat, right?
Basically, like what I did, which was kind of bizarre, is I ended up just creating a new copy of something like this, and then I think I ran an extract on it so I could just get the majority of it like this. And then remember how earlier we did that face tracking mask, which existed? Those masks come really in handy. I don't remember where it's stored. Oh, it's stored a step back like this to help restore alphas, etc. Anyway, a combination of that face mask and this this effect will give me the final result of just basically this head, which is cool. And I will show you that I've done that actually over here. It's probably going to look totally different now, but I did this same process earlier and ended up with where did I stick it? Oh, I'm in the wrong. I forgot that I versioned back before I did all of this work. So I'm going to save this as my one detour. And then I'm going to quickly jump back to wherever the heck I was before that. It's a problem with versioning here.
I don't really get what's going on here. Some strange poly stuff happening here that wasn't supposed to.
I would say that you went over that process pretty darn well. And if you're unable to fix this immediately, you could jump to the other chart you generated.
That's true, but I actually was going to see if I could. What I haven't figured out how to do is, send this to Mixamo, bring it back, and put the shirt on it then. and have the fabric dynamics, have the cloth dynamics happen with the movement from Mixamo. But I'm getting greedy. I don't think I need to do that today. God, gosh, that's hilarious.
That's all right. So we're back to. So this is an alternate version that I finished this morning. The only difference being you can use those the auto tracked mats mixed with the point from your face tracking data for your pupils to stick fake little pupils on here. So now I have this very bitter beer faced character. Who is, here we go, pretty upset, pretty Hulkified, but a human-driven performance with some really cheap liquefy effects that just happen to be stabilized and tracked to the face for this. And with the teeth punched out, the hair kind of punched out, and the eyes a little bit glowier, I feel like this is a good... A pretty good departure from where we started, which was, let me see if I can copy this face over here and try to line them up so we can see the difference here. They're out of sync. Trying to create a good comparison comp. Oh, I forgot I had a global mat in here as well. So yeah, check this out. Pretty good before and and post Hulk effect here. Oops. I guess it has keyframes for the scale everywhere. I didn't know that. Just show me my picture-in-picture. So yeah, little issue with the masking of the pupils there, but
easily fixable.
See, he's definitely
angry.
He's definitely angry. So angry. Still filming a selfie, but angry.
I don't understand what's happening right here, but I'm going to fix it somehow.
Well, as you fix that, I will reveal that lovely Hulk model I have here. I stuck a little card right onto the neck joint there, and then brought that into After Effects via Element, as I'd done before, which gives me this the body with this little pinched together neck and this nice little trackable barcode kind of shape. And all of this is nicely aligned, just as we saw in cinema, right over the original piece of footage. So if I turn that on behind it, I've got a pretty decent render of this Hulkified body in this space right here. And just for the sake of trying to unify these two, I've created a lovely, let's hide that for a moment. And then here's a pre-comp of just the Hulk body here rendered out. And I've 2D tracked a little point tracker onto that neck piece. Now, were I more knowledgeable about cinema, this would be a perfect use for compositing, an external compositing tag, and being able to export this through Cineware, so you'd have it perfectly aligned in 3D and everything. But I didn't do that, so I've 2D tracked, and I'm going to try to place my piece of footage here. We'll see if I deal with any color correction from this point forward. There's some necessary, but the bottom line is check this out. Here's my 2D tracked head with a little bit of neck tendonage, trying to help blend these together. I'm so mad. so mad, but still taking a selfie. in this nicely framed shot after filming my own hand transform. I'm an artistic Hulk. And I am reasonably satisfied with this, Seth.
Dude, that looks so good.
So, like, granted, yeah. Ooh.
You just need to match those two green colors together and it'll be perfect.
Wait, what do we think? Smaller head to make body seem bigger? Or does it do I go into Goomba territory?
What do you think, chat? Should the head I don't know, chat, what do you think?
Because, like, perspective-wise, there's, like, an argument to be made that it's, like, it would be getting bigger like this on a selfie camera. But also there's the, like, it's sort of like everyone knows that Michelangelo's David is built out of proportion so that when you view it from below, it looks like it's in proportion, which I don't know if it's really true or if it was a happy coincidence. Either way, it is very cool that if you see the David statue from straight on, it's taller and wider at the top. But if you see it from down below, it actually looks proportional. So, yeah, so smaller. One vote for...
One vote bigger, one vote smaller.
That means we'll just have to split the difference oddly, right? Maybe here or something like that. I feel like right here is in between, like, there's small head, so those shoulders are huge and hulky, but also I am on the selfie camera, which would make the head a lot bigger. And what's remarkable is that almost anywhere in here kind of works.
It does.
So let's try around here, and let's see. So now it looks too small. It looks good sized there, and then here it feels like it should have grown a little bit with that camera. I didn't track the scale on this because I thought it would be too distracting if the head was shrinking and growing a lot. So I tried to go with just doing it minimally. Okay, here we go. Now we get to the yuckiest stage of all this, which is trying to unify these two color spaces a little bit better. So I'm going to try to do that. Seth, how is it going over there in Taylorsville?
Good. I am.
If you were faster at this, we could call you Taylor Swift.
Oh, but I'm Taylor slow.
Womp, womp, womp.
I am just trying to... I'm just going to delete some of this body geometry that I don't need on Hulk, rather than try and push it down underneath the sweater geometry. Let me see if that worked. All right, just a couple places still that I need to fix it. Now, the other thing is I need to fix this right here. Then I'm gonna do this with the grab tool by grabbing this sweater and just kind of pushing it down a little smaller. Whoa, no. Basically, I'm gonna try and bring this sweater up to where it needs to end up. Oh God, why is that happening? It's the worst thing I've ever seen. Trying to close this gap up here at the neck, and eventually, hopefully... Sorry, this is why I don't record tutorial voiceover while I do the screen capture. I need to tear the sleeves after this, which I'm literally just going to delete some polygons and then put it into a... what the hell is it called? A subdivision surface. Unless you guys know of a better way to get the ripped edges of the shirt. Now, I'm not doing the shirt ripping that we talked about, which I guess I could try to do. How would I do that?
Shirt ripping?
Yeah, like You could not making me grow.
You would start with a shirt at its regular size, then you would have to grow the Hulk. But basically, tearing happens when polygons in the cloth simulation are pushed beyond whatever value you set.
Yeah.
And then they'll tear. But I don't know that we need to do that. Since you already have the big Hulk body.
Yeah, no. And what I'm doing here is too much work. Hashi, you did the thing with the edges of your Hulk head.
Let's see. I've sadly baked out my.
No, it's okay. I baked
out this Hulk head, so I'm trying to adjust the skin tone, but I'm getting some wacky eyes and mouth going on as I get closer with the skin tone. And for the skin tone, the only way that I'm trying to get
it's getting close enough. It's close enough to good.
It's a weird situation because I've got what I usually would do is I would try to like point sample the cheek here and the like point over here that I think is supposed to be about the same color. I had not enough red in it before, but then over here I've got I ended up putting too much red in, and so I would need to do the opposite, which is try to get rid of some of my highlight red. But this is exactly where my handicap is working against me at every turn to figure out what I should be doing here. So I'm just gonna say the lighting was weird, and he's a freaking superhero weird host monster thing, and that's closer than it was before, I think, which is all right. Levels are maybe a little bit off too.
Hey, Seth and Hashi, question for both of you from Benton in the chat. Where do you think a beginner should start in terms of VFX? Like, if you've never done VFX before and you're interested, where do you start? Just from the very beginning. I would say observation. Like, look how light reacts in a camera to things, because you'll know when you start putting stuff together that something doesn't look right. And if you understand how light works in a camera, you'll begin to understand. I mean,
sure. I also would say just do it. Like, literally try something you want. Like, think of something you want to try to do, and then try to do it. And
because even if you do it the absolute worst way possible, you'll learn a lot.
Yeah,
yes, just doing, you will learn.
The guy who was two things is a really good way to start. Like, if you like a scene that you see on YouTube and you want to either green screen yourself into it or maybe composite a section of that shot into something you can go film with a phone or something like that, that would be a really good way to say, like, try to steal a dinosaur from a movie and put it in the background of a shot that you've shot on your iPhone. And that'll force you to realize, oh, this looks bad because I have strong sun highlights, but the dinosaur is in shade and its lighting direction is going a different direction. So then maybe you go figure out how to film a plate based around a VFX element you have, and you'll slowly start putting together a handful of little things like that.
Shorthands.
And I think that could be very useful.
When I was a kid, I read an interview with the guy who was the voice of Wacko from Animaniacs, and the magazine asked him, like, what would you recommend for kids who are wanting to get into voice acting? And he said, just impersonate everybody, and if you don't get it right, you just made a new voice. And I think that's my outlook on. That's really what this show is too. It's like, let's just, like, I've learned by trying to impersonate my heroes, and in the process have found my own voice and my own workflows. You know, we joke about how, like, Hashi and I, neither of us have really probably ever finished a tutorial that we started watching, because we tend to get inspired by the tutorial, whatever we're watching, and then try to go off and we're like, oh, we could also do that with this. And then you go off and mess around and you realize you haven't been listening to the tutorial for the past, hour, because you've gone off down this other rabbit trail.
For sure. I agree with that a lot. And I'm sure we have said this before, so it almost sounds tired, but do something you're really interested in as well,
yeah.
Benton. Like, start with something that you think is really cool, because it'll give you that extra energy to finish something. Whereas trying to like go through a huge learning tutorial series may be really intimidating. You'll think I could never get to all of this stuff, so maybe I shouldn't do any of it. And that can be a drawback. So find something you really like because you'll want to finish it and share it. And don't be afraid to end up with a result like what either Seth or I have on screen right at this very moment. Like, we are professionals paid to do this and given the authority for some reason to teach. So
to teach how to use the things that we are currently using at this exact moment.
So you could be doing this well and be at least on our level. So don't be afraid of trying and failing, and or in our case, both. In public.
I mean, like, keep in mind, like, Seth and Hashi have both been doing this for a long time. Like, Hashi has been like in Hollywood, like he's done effects for Hollywood films, and yet he still sometimes doesn't quite know how to approach something. And that's true for everybody. Like, no matter what level you're at, you're always going to find stuff that you don't know how to do. That's the whole point of visual effects, is it's problem solving. Visual effects and motion graphics are both all about problem solving. In visual effects, it's how do I make this look believable, or at least in the realm, in the world we've set up for this film. And motion graphics is how do I convey this feeling or this information? Like, it's all problem solving. So you just start learning how to solve a problem.
For example, one of the problems I'm going to solve is I thought I had a really good solution for cutting out the face, but what a better solution probably is just to go to this footage and doing a little roto brushing. I bet that's going to be better than what I have now. Because I thought that the neck detail was going to help blend it in. I don't think it is, really. So I'm going to do roto brush. I'm going to scale up my brush and grab a refine edge tool and hit these edges of the hair, so it'll give me some nice
edges
detail.
Of the hair. Sorry.
Edges. Look at that. Nice detailed edges there. Same for my stupid beard here. Stupid beard. There we go. See, it'll give me a little bit of definition there. And I don't want this part to become semi-transparent, so let's add a little bit more of that back in. Let's make the chin defined, but the hair refine edged. And then I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to try playing this through and seeing how well Rotobrush 2 grabs my head from all this, because I think it's going to do a great job.
Meanwhile, I think I'm ready to send this thing to Mixamo. Oh, am I? No. I need to shred the arms. Let's shred these arms.
They got to be shredded.
I'm just gonna select some crap, and I'm gonna do some crap. So, boom, bada bing, there's some tear. And there's some... sorry.
Actually, Seth, if you want to have more teary-looking tears, you might want to select everything and triangulate your mesh first. That will give you more... Like, select everything. Select it all first.
Oh, right. Yeah. Whoa!
Just a shirt.
I am very proud of you for making that shirt, Seth.
Look, you picked the worst view of it to say that.
That was a 3D object that didn't exist before, and you made that.
Okay. That's so sweet of you. But, oh my God, this is the most Mama, look what I made, Mama.
I mean, Seth, if you wanted it to look better at this point, you could run the remesher on it with the Z remesher, and you'd get a good looking polygon flow on it. But we don't need to. We just need to tear it up.
Tear me up, Michael. Where do I go now?
Mesh. Where did I put it? I always just hit triangulate, Shift C triangulate.
Well, I want to know where that is.
I don't know.
Ingon triangulation?
No. That's not it.
What?
Maybe undercut?
Is it subdivide? Are you telling me to do, or what?
I'm not telling you to subdivide. I'm telling you to triangulate. There it is.
Ooh.
Right here.
So that takes and makes, instead of having quads, now you have tris everywhere, which means you have more jaggedy edges for your tears. Also, pro tip, if you are planning to use the cloth simulation in Cinema 4D, you can either use the triangulate command, as I've just had Seth do here, or you can use the new poke polys, which is a capsule, which means it's
sends
procedural.
a text message to Ryan Polly, and
Poke polys puts a point at the center of every polygon, and you can push it out or in. In this case, you wouldn't do either, which gives you 4 triangles for every 1 polygon you have. So you build your model that you want to be a cloth mesh, run poke polys. You don't have to run it, is the point, because it is a procedural thing. So you just have your lovely political little quad mesh, poke polys as a procedural capsule on top of it, gives you lovely triangles that you can then run your cloth simulation on, and it gives you that better clothier feel.
Just realized I tore way too much of this because it's starting to reveal Hulk's
the best part about imperfection, adding imperfections, is that
it doesn't have to be perfect.
It doesn't. And when this stuff happens by accident, it's going to look
happy.
Yeah.
Happy little accidents.
That's my company name, Happy Little Accidents. Actually, it's the name of my HBO series. Happy little fires everywhere, lying.
I was a happy little accident. True story.
Amen.
For those who don't know how the children come about, I'm not going to
There's
explain
a whole conversation there.
Yeah, there's a whole conversation you need to have with your parents. And
this video is marked as not for children, so you should already know how this works.
Oh, we had a friend. He's one of our friend's kids. When one of my kids' friends, I couldn't figure out which one to say. It's both. Came over yesterday. And he likes to use the Oculus whenever he comes over. And it's right over here. So he comes in looking for the Oculus, and he's asking me stuff, and I'm like, I'm answering his questions matter-of-factly, and then he sees my screen, and I realize, oh, yeah, I'm literally in the process at the moment of putting a raptor head onto a Hulk model. And he goes... And making it dance through Mixamone. He was like, yeah, I was wanting to play. What is that? And I could see his brain melting out of his ear. It was the most wonderful moment because my kids are so used to it that it's really fun to have someone walk in and be and be romanced by the Raptors on my screen.
That is true. Is remarkable. It is. I was noticing that in putting together the thumbnail for today's show, knowing I love that. We're in a place that let me see. I can find that right here. That making this for work gave me neither pause or any
This is a normal thing to do.
This is a normal thing to do. We did some rounds of notes about, including After Effects and cinema, just to make sure that people understood what they were going to learn today on the stream. And, I say that we've lived up to many aspects of this.
I mean, we've been in both After Effects and Cinema 4D, and we've learned cool tricks like Seth's really fast way to make a shirt and your really cool tracking techniques. We've got some good tips for both pieces of software in here today.
We did. So I'd say, our thumbnail goals are at least, accomplished.
I'm going to say, I appreciate that in our thumbnail, we have both the extremely green Hulk and the more quote unquote realistically green Hulk. I like that we covered both of them there. One of you is Luke Ferrigno and the other one is Marvel. It's fantastic.
We wanted to make sure that we were, snatching up both fan bases when they are
if you love Hulk
on the interwebs
of any kind, yeah.
Wait, but I don't know. Are they going to talk about the? See, we didn't clickbait it with
I just realized why the female Hulk doesn't Hulk up as much. If she hulked out the way Bruce Banner does, they would have to have some sort of pasties or something.
No, look at the comics. She always somehow manages to keep it all covered up.
The most comfortable and stretchy part of any wardrobe is the support of
Yes, we all know. Everyone here.
Again, this is not marked for children, so adults shouldn't understand that support garments tend to be stretchier.
We're making garments. We're stretching cloth. We're in this realm now. And my goodness, why did I choose to freeze this on this live?
Oh, freeze, Seth. He's freezing stuff.
Oh, good God!
I said
you have a button. You have a button for this.
Let's do subdivision surface and make these tears look. That looks all right. That's fine. I don't care.
Terrible.
It still looks bad, but I don't care. I'm in.
Why does freezing take us long on the section that was already pre-tracked? I thought that I was going to start blazing now when I got to this stage of my freeze.
Oh, I got to make my face green. I have a texture. I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Need to be green. How do you make your face green, Seth? What's the best way to make a human face green? Is it just hue shifting or?
Actually, no. I cut out a portion of because I liked the Hulk texture that was on this Hulk, and so I cut out a blank piece from that, and it looks like this. And I actually took the eyes from that texture, and I vivid light blended them over this horrifying texture of me.
I love this. Also, since we were using the demo version of this head, automatic head making thing, look at how selfish they were. Not selfish, but look how much they squeezed down the texture that could clearly for your face that could have actually taken up
the whole thing,
the whole other side of it. But they're just like, nah, we'll do this, and so your whole face is defined by 300 pixels.
So what I'm going to do is go into the face skin, and I'm going to change that texture over to the Seth Hulk texture, which I believe I put in here. Seth Hulk texture.
Seth Hulk texture.
And boom, now I'm green.
Look at that. Well done. Good way to match that green.
Thanks, bud. Now I'm going to make sure. I think that their normals are probably messed up on this. I'm going to double check. Yeah.
Is it gout that you have? Or
yeah. It's upsetting. So I think that should be ready to take out to Mixamo, even though, God, it looks terrible. I didn't do any textures on the shirt. I'm going to do that later in Element because I've got a fabric there that I like. So let's export it as an FBX.
FBX!
Hulk Whirly. It's my uncle. Just kidding, I don't have an uncle named Hulk. I didn't want my actual uncle to be offended thinking I was calling him Hulk.
Yeah, it's like my Uncle Fred Whirly. It's fine.
Oh, finally
This is just like my Uncle Fred.
Hashi, you weren't kidding. Mixamo logs you out the second you look away.
It does. I'm going to, this is neither here nor there, but is a fun tip. Say I were stuck with that, we're going to use that neck that I had earlier, and I have all those motion trackers. One thing that's really frustrating to have to do is go through and remove motion trackers, especially once you've created them. But that's one of the reasons why we created Spot Clone Tracker, which is perfect for something like this. So in the VFX suite, there's this thing called Spot Clone Tracker, and it's very intuitively named. Basically, you can sample one section of an image and place it over top of another piece of an image. The spot size doesn't need to be very big in this case. It just needs to be big enough to cover your spot. And then one cool thing about the Spot Clone Tracker is that it will match the color of your area here. It's not a straightforward clone stamp. So if I went over to like the wall or something like this, it doesn't look like I'm cloning the wall over here. It just looks like a very smooth, detail-less texture. But if I move this point over here just to anywhere with skin, you can see that it's matching the skin texture right here where it covers up that spot. And now, next annoying part is that the spot moves all around, all of that stuff. But what's cool about Spot Clone Tracker is all you got to do is press play and watch as Spot Clone Tracker goes across your footage and tracks that spot. Okay, so watch how quickly this does this. I quite love it. So it just shoots across the footage like that. This is across seconds of footage. 60 frames right here. And you can do that and do as many instances as you need to remove tracking markers from. And so now I have this beautiful, perfectly tracked and erased spot, which is wonderful.
Nice.
It's gone. And then all I'd have to do is rinse and repeat. I can literally just minimize that, duplicate the spot clone tracker, and now that I'm actively in this one, I can just move that to this next spot, open it up, and start it tracking too. And it'll start tracking that second spot all the way through. And you can just repeat that to any of your like face trackers, body trackers, whatever type of thing you've got to remove. And because the tracking is fast and because the interface is all just moving stuff around in the comp window, super fast and simple way to do that. I love it. Look at that. I've moved those spots, and if I turn off my effects in here, there they are.
Spot Clone Tracker is just so good.
All right, so we've got this new face here that I can put onto my
see that wall
here.
Yeah,
yes.
Get it, Hulk. Actually, this is more like Egon Hulk. I forgot that the model of me actually kind of looks like Harold Ramis. Or Egon from the real Ghostbusters.
See, I'm going to add, like I've said, underrated filter, drop shadow.
Totally.
It's going to feather that way out, turn it down a little bit, and then use the track matte button. So it's just adding a little bit of a shadow right there. Look at that. See? Easy. There's a little bit of a halo from my chin there, but we can probably matte choke that away. Soften that up, choke that in, and we even simplify this.
Yes, choke in the chin.
In the chin. Oops. And I'm going to check shadow only. That's what's happening. There we go.
Seth, I can't with what's happening on your screen.
Wow. Seth.
Magic. That's now, by the way, this is more accurate to how I look right now than the current mix of me. Close damage included. So I don't know what to do next, guys. I kind of got 15 minutes left. Do I raptorize this thing?
Ooh,
No.
he said the raptorized word.
I did.
I mean, that's you just pop the model on the head the same way you pop the Seth model on the head. That's not that unique. I think you need to. I think. Oh, can you in 15 minutes morph from regular Seth to Hulk Seth?
I don't know. Can I? How would I do that? How would I?
Oh, there's so many ways to morph in After Effects, and everyone's like, "There's no way to morph in After Effects." There's like 5 billion ways to morph in After Effects.
Well, but is there a way to do it in Cinema 4D? Can I morph from one model to the next model?
Yes.
But I'd have to rebuild the clothes on top of them.
Well, you could have the clothes react to the model moving underneath. If you want to get crazy.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but I have to rebuild those clothes.
Minutes.
I'd have to rebuild those clothes as cloth dynamics. Real quick, show me how to morph. Show me how to morph.
Right, you would just use one as the source and one as the... There's multiple ways you could do it. Because
But how should I
in
do it?
films, like it's rare that they do a
I know
full morph
films.
in one go.
See, this is all I would do. Is I would do some 0 to 100 keyframes and
No,
check it out.
100%. Oh, do it. I want to see it.
Do it.
He's getting angry. That's his trick. He's always mad.
Oh, that's exciting.
Oh, he's getting so angry.
And jolly.
Yeah.
Wait,
Good
but
time.
Michael, how would I?
Ah.
How do I morph? How do I morph them?
I mean, there's multiple ways you could do it. You could, ideally, both of your models would have similar polygon counts, so you could have one as the target for like a mesh, or for like a. Oh my gosh, my brain's leaving me.
You need
Pose morph.
You know.
You could have one as a pose morph. What I would do is I would take. I would do pose morph tag. Take one and then make it morph it to the other one, just using the brush tools, and make one morph to the other, and then just reverse them so that one is morphed into the one's morphed into the other. Render them both, and then in After Effects, I would make them transition, probably using some sort of depth map to really give it like flavor as it transitions.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, you would want to do it more in comp for this level of stuff. It's just easier. Like, it's genuinely easier to take. So you would have Seth morph into Hulk just by like using your brushes to push it into Hulk shape, and you'd take Hulk, mush it into Seth shape, and then have both of them together morphing, from Hulk back into itself from Seth, and Seth into Hulk from Seth. If that makes sense.
Yes,
And
or you could do it the Seth Worley way, which is to cheat and lean into shot composition as a way to do it.
Or you could just use a morph transition in Premiere Pro.
No, I have a really fun idea. Let me see.
All right. I mean, in the meantime, I'm going to try a really simple experiment, which is I've created a green cylinder here, and this I'm going to say blue, purple.
Blue. Yes, you're good.
Blue.
You're good.
Thing. I'm going to add some keyframes on this on the cylinder here. So let's keyframe that. I'll turn on my auto keyframes and just zoom to like 90 frames, and I'm going to make that get bigger like that, okay? And then we're going to keyframe the scale there. Wait. Oh, I didn't tell the scale to be keyframeable. Wait, why?
Just make it 2 in the scale.
Fine, there we go. So, boom.
Yeah.
Growing thing. And now I'm going to add a tag to this. I'm going to go to simulation tags and check collider and leave that right there. And then on this other cylinder, which I didn't have any caps on, so just a nice little round piece of fabric like that, I'm going to go and add under simulation tags, cloth, which is fun. And now if I play this just as is, let's go ahead and save it right here. The children are home and playing some wild, exciting game. Stretch, tear. All right, so I think right now if I play this, we'll have an interesting reaction between these two. So if I go play, we'll have that grow and that cloth to sort of disappear. But if I were to go over to my first frame like this and then grab this cloth tag, and under the tag, I'm going to go down to tearing, and I'll check tearing. Tear past 150%. I'm going to keep the stretchiness really low right here. Let me see how many points I have on this. Probably not very many. So let's, maybe I can't remember if I can subdivide once I've already applied the cloth tag. Disable. I don't remember how I do that. Poke polygons. Okay, I can. Great. So let's, under mesh, add poke polygons. Let's subdivide these poked polygons. There we go. So we got a lot of little points now. And I've also, as you'll recall, under cloth, checked tearing. And now I'm going to press play again. Play. Aww. Yeah!
Look at that.
Check it out.
That's
so not the most amazing tear. And if I wanted to art direct this more, I could start to do stuff like right now it's a very mathematical texture and a very mathematical predictable tearing pattern.
Click off of your cloth and go into object mode instead of point mode, and it will be more fun to watch in the viewport.
Oh yeah. There we go. Let's make this a little bit let's give you a little more screen space. Here we go. Tear. Look at that. So there's how you could do some cool cloth tearing apart simulation stuff, which is awesome because I was able to do that and didn't know if I could. But the tools made it simpler than it used to be to do that, and I love it. So additionally, I think that I could do some stuff like for tearing, I could use a map to do that. So if I wanted to, I'll go to my 0 frame here and then go to mesh. Let's see, is it brushes? No, I'm looking for tools, paint tool. So I'm going to go to my cylinder here, and I'm going to paint this little line. Actually, let's make it more interesting. Let's make it like this weird shape like that, okay? So I've painted this art-directed bizarre shape that I want. You'll see that it's created a little tag right here. I believe if I go to my
we can't see tag, that. We can't see that tag, Hashi.
Oh, you can't. It's off the screen. Sorry. Here in my object menu, once I had painted on top of this, which again was tool, and when I had the object selected here, I went to tools, paint tool, and just painted this little line like that. Now if I go to my cloth tag where it says tearing, I can drag this map right here into the tearing map, and I just drag that vertex map into it. And now I believe if I play this through, watch.
It tears more, yeah.
It tears more wherever I had drawn that piece. So now I can get a really distinct looking thing there. And that's pretty cool. And say this were even a longer piece of timeline, like 150. Now I can watch more of the consequence of this thing. Let's add a ground plane kind of situation real quick. I know we're running out of time, but I'm just excited about simulations in general. Let's make that big. Let's make this a collider as well. And then let's play this through. Play. Arm getting too big, cloth tears off it, and little bits fall and land on the ground, which is cool. So this would be the next stage for me, basically comping something like this over top of that initial moment where I have the arm on the wall there getting torn. And just like Seth has shown throughout this, you can always throw this whole guy into a subdivision surface. So from the get-go, you have a smoother and nicer looking little simulation there. there are some stepping issues that you could resolve by going to the project settings, turning up under simulation. I would imagine the number of sub-steps will certainly help, and probably the number of collision passes too. So I'm going to quickly press play now. Still getting that seeping through a little bit. What are you doing over there, Seth?
So I have this already animated from yesterday sequence where Hulk, like, he jumps, his feet, he lands and stands up into a stance, and I have this animation that I showed you guys as a GIF. Like, it's kind of a reveal of, like, the feet land, pan it, and it tilts up to reveal it's my face on Hulk's body. But I cut off the beginning, which has Hulk jumping, and so I downloaded the Mixamo version of the first part, my regular body, and I'm just going to make the sequence to where regular me jumps in the air and then Hulk me lands on the ground.
Oh, that's great.
Well, you've got 2 minutes.
Yeah, I can do it. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
All right, I'm gonna turn my tear amount lower so it's more like instead of like cotton and stretch, it's more like a starched shirt. And let me see if that gives it a sooner tearing moment. Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Now it's going slower now because I'm running more iterations on it, and I'm trying
some of that back down.
See, and also I could probably adjust what it considers the thickness of this fabric. And so I don't know if my substeps, my iterations, my smoothing iterations, what will affect the look of that cloth the most right now, because I don't love that it's doing that. Actually, I forgot also, since I'm subdividing my cloth, I could subdivide this creepy pig in a blanket looking thing. Here we go. Yeah.
So cool. I could play with simulations for forever.
It's so much fun.
That's why I love particular and X particles and the new stuff in S26 and Cinema 4D. Like, it's just so much fun to play with.
It really is. Let's see. And for example, if I had the stretchiness turned up high on this and a tearing. Oh, look at that. It's just tearing under its own weight first. Yes.
Yeah.
Falls off and then lands. Look at that. This flops onto the floor.
We've hit the 2-hour mark, folks.
People can stop watching. I want to make this shot work.
That sounds good. I'm just going to play simulations of it. Look at that. Yes. That could be like, you could simulate bark falling off trees, and you could do all sorts of really cool.
Folks, we know you've wanted to simulate bark coming off trees.
Who hasn't? Like, look at this. It's like is it a birch? Is that the one that does the cool thing like that?
Do you know how I know you live in Canada now? Our trees have bark. You can strip them off and get maple syrup out of it.
If I'm not looking at the real bark, I could be simulating the bark right here. I know you don't strip the bark
off to get maple syrup. People, don't write in.
You take the tree and you turn it like this.
You just squeeze the tree,
wring that out.
Bring the maple syrup out. You just pick it up. That's all. That's why they hired the Hulk in Canada.
So here's a good example. This looks exactly the color of a hot dog to me. I know it's not, because numerically I know it's not, but my brain is.
Hashi, if you see a hot dog that's that color,
I'm just stating what my brain does with the information it has.
You know, someone suggested we should do an episode where you wear those glasses that help you see colors, Hashi.
Help me find them in my moving boxes. They're in one of these boxes. And they're like slightly tinted, and so I always feel like a creep. I don't know why. Like sitting at my desk with these like slightly tinted glasses.
Like, oh yeah, I'm a hacker.
Like, yeah,
in the 90s.
It's yeah. I don't like it. Oh, what did I do?
Folks, this has been a great show. We've learned a lot about cinema.
We've learned a lot.
And After Effects,
and we're
ourselves.
after the 2. Yeah, and Maxon is not responsible for anything after the 2-hour mark.
Seth, can you talk just like we're past time, but can you talk first real quick how you got this look on this right now? Because the lighting and the look of this is real cool, stylized comic book look, and I would love for you to talk real quick on how you got this look.
I have no idea.
Excellent.
I took this from.
It's been a great show.
You guys have seen me. I have the starter Raptor that I start with. It's the same lighting except the spot. The ones it's a combination of physical environment with exposure and gamma like cranked up, a certain lighting and element like additional lighting added with brightness multiplier turned up, and I've rotated these environments and lighting until things start to look good, and then I added a spotlight that's red that's behind. It's serving as this backlight. And one of the shots in the West Side Story Raptor video, I just found like this is the sweet spot where this Raptor looks the best to me in my taste. And so I made it my starter Raptor, and I just copy and paste this Raptor into my other Raptor stuff. And so it's essentially the same settings on this Hulk of messing around until something breaks or looks good. And also ambient occlusion jacked way, way up. I want to see how this...
until it works. Got it.
Yeah, twist it until something breaks. That's the Michael Scott instructions on how to remove a bra in The Office. And he tries it on Dwight. There you have it.
Oh, Michael Scott.
Oh, Michael Scott. So, yeah, this will work great.
This is going to work great. I can't wait to share it out on our social media channels.
See, where he's literally doing work still.
Let's see. Scene.
It's Friday. Who cares?
If I... Crap, how do I... What's the quickest way to do this? I could just duplicate element. No, go to... Split it. Go to the first one. Save. Scene setup. Bring in the new, reg Seth jump. Import. Use auto normals. No, the normals are messed up. I might be able to still get away.
No.
Crap.
We need to be normal.
And I already. Oh man. Okay, maybe I can.
Seth, it's 5 past, buddy.
No, it's not.
It is 5 past.
It's okay.
You can fix this.
Oh, I can fix this. Hang on. Where do you reverse the normals? I forgot.
On the model, down at the bottom. Like on the model, not the material.
Oh, damn, it's going to reverse all of them.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on.
So in Cinema 4D
yeah, I know how to
or
do
Mixamo, whichever one of the things, the faces. There you go. Well, the body's wrong and the face is right. Is a problem. You got the body one going one way and the face going the other way.
I know. I'm going to try.
I'm just going to try something even more sim fun. Let's merge this project with this little t-shirt model. Perfect. Ooh, look how glossy this t-shirt came in. That's silly. Why?
What?
Why is that the default t-shirt texture?
It's like metallic.
Wouldn't you want a shirt like that?
I mean, I would, but I'm upset that I don't have one, so I don't want anyone to have one. Okay, default object, and there's a texture there. Remove this texture.
Okay, so now
Super
comp, Add the element.
Yes.
Copy all effects. Paste effects. And in a perfect world, this will now be me jumping into the air and becoming Hulk.
Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous looking. Ooh, I can totally do this in the meantime. Cloth, tear past like barely any growth there, and figure. You're also a collider now. Let's see. Hulkify the stick figure. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
That was such a delayed reaction.
I love the idea of it like slowly like building and stopping, and then the shirt bloop, like popping at the last second once the growth is done.
Pretty stretchy. Because yeah, like a lot of t-shirts are probably stretchier than they're shown to be. All right, that's okay. I'm going to tear past 105% and cache. Let's see. Let's just cache the scene for this so I can play it back smoothly. You're RAM previewing over there. I'm caching the simulation.
Yeah, I'm letting this thing cache while idle. I found that's the more satisfying way to watch it, to wait for a render lately.
Because it goes in both directions. It's kind of fun to watch it just like.
And my brain isn't wanting it to move in real time while I wait.
And now that I have this simulation cached, let's see.
If you hide your material manager, you'll have more screen space.
Oh, that's true. Wait, I'm just going to do that. There we go.
Also works.
And, oops, it's not spacebar. Gall darn it.
It's F8.
F8, the natural depress F8 button.
Randomly, it will be
Yes!
spacebar for me.
Oh,
Yes. Do it again. Do it again.
Shatters.
yes.
Wow.
Shattered cloth. Oh, it shatters.
That cloth has been through a lot.
Yipes. Okay.
Now you just have to animate the figure to do the full like you can't see my arms because of the box, but just the full on. You get it. I don't know verbs.
I get it. I love it. Okay, so bendiness is higher. The tear past is still low, and stretchiness is a little bit stretchier than it is now. Let's see. We'll let that real time for a second.
All right, here we go. Here's the status of mine at quarter resolution.
Boom.
And that's how you cheat as a director, guys. When you can't afford
up and out.
When you can't afford and the shark isn't working, you get creative. And I would argue this is actually a cooler transformation than one we would have seen on screen.
Yeah, I agree. And it'd be better if you saw like a torn shoe fall into the frame first for a split second.
Oh my God! Like his feet lands, and then the shoes like fall.
And then a shoe falls, yeah.
And then pants. If there's a way to have like, or if he lands and then the shoes and then a shirt and then you pan up to reveal shirtless Hulk Seth.
This is great. I'm a fan.
I'm a fan too.
I still love that light looks so stylized on these two models. The way it's
part of it is
hot rim light.
I think part of it is also the polygons, like how like low poly the model is. It makes it feel stylized like paper.
This whole thing has such a cool style look to it.
Yeah, totally by accident.
I love it.
Gorgeous.
I'm also using Trapcode Horizon, by the way, as my background because
You're using what?
Trapcode Horizon with the gradient kept on. Because if you look, you can't really tell totally. It's just a subtle movement like that happens naturally. And then if you do that with the ambient occlusion and a plane, an invisible matte shadow plane on the bottom, it all sells as like this void.
Infinite environment. That's great.
And that's also with Magic Bullet looks turned on with a whole bunch of cool stuff. Here it is without. Here it is with some elation and such. going on.
Optical diffusion, one of my favorite new things.
Me too. We got to get out of here, don't we?
We do.
Hosh,
We should.
you got anything else you want to do before we go?
No, but I love that the cloth simulation thing is as simple as what we're doing.
Folks, it's just so much fun to play with. You don't have to know what you're doing, and it just makes fun.
You clearly don't have to know what you're doing at all, and still have plenty of fun with this.
That makes me want to start, like, tearing some clothes in cinema way more often.
Heck yeah. Ladies.
And on that note, thank you for joining us this week on VFX and Chill. We love you. Hashi, you spoke first.
We do
So I'll
love
let
you.
speak
Thank you
last.
so much for coming back. Stay tuned for lots of exciting VFX and Chill action. Always feel free to suggest show topics and things that you want to see us fumble around and figure out live in the comments. And share the show with 40,000 of your closest friends and family.
Right now.
You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could. And before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a ceramic mug and now selling it. You want to sell it. Well, life finds a way.